Hey, this is Brindle Wolf. You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action, with programs to spark your growth, lift your spirits, and help you rise into your potential. Rise Awakenings, hear the call, through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken and climb. Rise Awakenings, now is the time. Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.
Start with the quiet parts, the things you hide behind your laugh. Sit with the ache a while. Let every question breathe and ask, who was I trying to be? Who am I when I just stay? Name every tender scar and let them have their say. Till your heart carries you. This is the blue.
Pages of old beliefs, stories that kept you playing small. Lay them out on the floor, see which ones never fit at all. Offer your younger self a kindness you never.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. First, I'm going to start with an apology because I think I jumped too far ahead last week, and I really should have started with this as the start of the two-part conversation on the divine feminine energy. Welcome to the Bloom. If you're new here, I just share knowledge and wisdom that I've accumulated through my own educational, healing, experiential journeys. I am so happy to share all of these gifts with you. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And Micah, thank you for being the man behind the curtain who gives so much every show. And I appreciate you so much. If you want to work deeper with me, you can reach out to me on the socials or through healingrose.org. And I have a special mystery guest that I'm going to call on after I kind of give you a little chat on the part that I kind of skipped over last week. So we're going to hit the rewind button for a moment and go back and just start here. And this might help bridge the gap with what we learned last week. Okay. So divine feminine energy. So before we can understand what the divine feminine actually is, this is the part that I skipped. We have to be willing to look at what we've been taught that it is in society, culture. All right. So for generations, society, culture, and religion has taken something ancient, powerful, and deeply natural and turned it into a set of expectations. Okay. We're taught that the feminine should be nurturing. And before I even continue, let me just put a disclaimer out there. You're going to be triggered a little bit, and I'm going to say she and he a lot. What I'm referring to when I say she and he is two things. Number one, we live in a system that I'm trying to bring to illuminate for you and bring to your level of awareness that puts us in these categories: men, women, male, female. That's it. Roles for men, roles for females. We're all part of this patriarchal system and structure. It's been this way for generations. And so I'm going to say she and he. I'm not talking about preferences or genders or anything like that, except for how our gender has been impacted by these mindsets and ideals. So big trigger warnings, big disclaimers. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I just ask that you have an open mind to the idea that perhaps our conditioning runs deeper than we realize. So let's open our minds a little bit, right? We're taught that the feminine should be, I'm going to should a lot, gentle, patient, beautiful, self-sacrificing, emotionally available, forgiving, quiet when necessary, accommodating. A good woman gives. A good woman nurtures. A good woman holds everything together. A good woman doesn't ask for too much. She doesn't take up too much space or become too angry, too sexual, too ambitious, too loud, too independent, too powerful. And when she steps outside of those boundaries, she is often given a name for it, right? You're difficult. You're a bitch. You're emotional. You're selfish. You're cold. You're intimidating. You're unfeminine. And this conditioning doesn't only affect the women. It does affect men too. Because if women are told that their power must be softened, men are often taught that their own feminine qualities must be suppressed. Okay? Don't cry. Don't be too sensitive. Don't be vulnerable. Don't nurture too much. Don't slow down. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to your intuition. Don't be soft. Be strong. Be productive. Provide. Protect. Control. And suddenly we have two human beings who have been taught to live in opposition with themselves and each other. Okay? It's very important information. When women disconnected from their own power, men disconnected from their softness, and then we wonder why relationships become so complicated, right? Why people don't know how to communicate, why vulnerability feels so dangerous, why receiving feels so uncomfortable, why boundaries feel like rejection, why nurturing becomes exhaustion, why strength becomes domination, why sensitivity becomes weakness, and why so many people are living from roles assigned roles instead of from the truth within their hearts. Because somewhere along the way, we confused the feminine with femininity. And they are not the same thing. Femininity is a cultural expression. Hear me well. Femininity is a cultural expression. It changes from generation to generation. Look at the history. It changes from country to country. Look at how culturally we're different, okay? It definitely changes from religion to religion. That's a whole different talk in and of itself. It's a lot of trauma in there. And it changes from social structure to social structure. But the divine feminine is something so much more deep than that. It's not a dress or motherhood or being agreeable or quiet. It's not being sexually attractive, whatever it's decided that looks like that generation or that decade. It's not being submissive either at all, not even remotely. And it certainly doesn't mean that women are somehow spiritually superior than men. We're not. We're not. However, the divine feminine is an energetic principle that exists within all human beings. It is a capacity to receive, to listen, to feel, to intuit, to create, to nurture without abandoning ourselves, to allow, to surrender completely without abandoning our power, without becoming powerless, okay? We can still surrender, right? To hold that complexity. That very complexity can be held. To move through the cycles that we have within our bodies, within our hearts, within our lives, within our minds. To understand that not everything has to be forced. The feminine knows that life has seasons and cycles. There is a time to grow. There is a time to bloom. Like every Monday at 11 o'clock. Thank you for being here. There's a time to release. There's a time to rest. There's a time to become what it is that you're trying to become. And there's a time to simply just be. And that wisdom has been buried beneath centuries of conditioning that told us productivity was more valuable than presence. Achievement is more valuable than being. Control is more valuable than trust. And giving was more noble than receiving. By nature, that doesn't work. Just doesn't work that way. That's not how nature works, period. Look at the earth. She receives the seed. She doesn't apologize for needing water. She doesn't produce every single day. She has seasons. She rests. She receives the sunlight, the rain. And when the conditions are just right, she creates. Okay? That is the feminine wisdom, not passivity, receptivity. And there's a tremendous difference. Receptivity does not mean sitting around and waiting for life to happen. It means becoming available to what is true. It means listening deeply enough to know when to move. Okay? Not continuously productively moving all the time. To know when to move and when not to. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold. Thank you, Spirit Radio. It means understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop forcing what is not meant to be forced. The divine feminine knows boundaries. And this is where we have to dismantle the misconception that was programmed into us, okay? Being loving does not mean endlessly being available, okay? Being compassionate does not mean tolerating everything. That's not the natural divine feminine energy. Being nurturing does not mean rescuing everyone. Please stop. And being forgiving does not mean allowing someone continued access to you. Okay? The feminine can say no. The feminine can walk away. The feminine can become fierce. Okay? The feminine can protect. The feminine can destroy what needs to be destroyed so something healthier can emerge and be created. Okay, because creation and destruction are not opposites, they are part of the same cycle. And perhaps this is one of the greatest distortions we've inherited, that feminine must always be pleasant. But nature is not always pleasant. Nature gives birth, nature bleeds, nature storms, burns, floods, sheds, regenerates. There is a power in the feminine that does not need permission to exist. And when women reclaim that power, it doesn't mean becoming harder, it means becoming whole. Okay? When men reclaim the feminine within themselves, it doesn't mean becoming less masculine, it means becoming more human and whole. Because every one of us contains the capacity to act and to receive, to lead and to listen, to protect and to nurture, to build and to rest, to be fierce and to be tender. The goal was never to choose one or the other. The goal is always integration, always. So perhaps the question is not, what does it mean to be a woman or man? Okay? Perhaps the question is actually, what parts of myself have I been taught to reject in order to be accepted? Right? How much of ourselves do we reject to be accepted? What softness did I abandon? What power did I shrink? What emotions did I silence? What desire did I judge? What boundaries was I taught were selfish when they're actually not? Okay, what parts of your natural intelligence, your intuition, your sensitivity, your creativity, your receptivity were completely dismissed because they didn't fit this typecast, this role, this identity that you were slapped with? It is something we remember. Okay, the divine feminine energy is something already here in our bodies, in our intuition, in our creativity, in our cycles, our life cycles, our bodily cycles, in the stillness that we embrace, in the sensations that we witness, in the ability that we have to receive, and in the wisdom that doesn't always arrive as words. Okay? And perhaps reclaiming the divine feminine isn't about becoming something new. Perhaps it's about becoming willing to stop performing what we were taught and listening closely enough to discover what was already there all along. Not women versus men, feminine versus masculine, but human beings becoming whole and balanced. When we allow that wholeness within ourselves, something changes. Okay? We stop asking questions that don't need to be asked. Okay? Especially revolving around whether or not we're enough of this or enough of that or whatever. Instead, we're going to ask ourselves, are we living in alignment with what is true for us? Okay? That's where our true freedom begins. And in that freedom, we find the peace that we all so desperately are trying to achieve for ourselves. Okay? We're not going to become who the world told us to be. That's not what this healing journey is about. We are remembering who we were before the world told us who we had to be. And embracing our divine feminine energy is where it starts. I'm going to bring in my mystery, not so mystery guest, and let's turn this into a conversation. And it's a man. Mystery guest, come on in.
Good morning. Even though I am enigmatic and a mystery in and of myself. Right?
Your thoughts. Please share.
You know, I kind of want to address the men first. Because the women are so used to being addressed when it comes to feminine energy and the difference of being feminine and living in feminine. And so many men consider, oh, well, I can't live in the feminine because then that'll mean that I have to have my wrists limp and I'll have to, sashay and the head will have to. No, that's not living in the feminine at all. That's just cruelty that you were taught. But when you are just living in a masculine, you are, oh, I'm the provider. Well, women provide too. Oh, well, I'm stronger. Have you birthed? This isn't a gender competition. This is an energetic alignment that so many men are not in. Because the gender identity somehow got mixed in with the energetic identity and alignment. So when you are stuck in, oh, well, I was always taught not to cry. And I noticed in the chat, this goes for women too. You were taught not to cry, that it's weakness. Bullshit, I say. Bullshit. It's weak to hold it in. And it's toxic to hold it in. It's toxic not to feel what it is that you need to feel, because the body tells you. The body's like, I got to get rid of this. And if you hold on to it long enough, well, I don't understand why I'm having constant headaches. I don't understand why I'm running fevers. I don't understand why I have cancer. Because the energetic metastasizes into the physical when you are ignoring the energetic that is misaligned. I'm going to step down for a moment and see where else this takes us.
And I see a lot of the comments here. There's a lot of issues that our parents brought into this because we've all been conditioned by that same system. So for us, it's a matter of deconstructing all of that conditioning, all of that shame that's revolving around femininity and the divine feminine and the separation between the two and the masculine presence in that. And there is the deep imbalance that we were talking about last week is rooted in what we were all taught. And so I see a lot of the comments in there about how this ties into people's trauma. 100%. You're assigned this task. You have these expectations. You need to perform these things. Nothing else is allowed, period.
Let's bring in April's comment on that, because she said while you were chatting, I have all that or nothing mentality. It's not healthy. No, it's not.
Right.
And that's not your fault that you have that, because you were conditioned to have that all or that mentality.
Right.
That or all or nothing. Sorry.
Right.
I'm not used to having to talk this early in the morning. Except on Thursdays.
Except for the core. You save up for the week for that.
Right?
And again, this is not a men-woman thing, which is why I'm trying to structurally and systemically speaking, this system's been in place for thousands of years. It's shifted in how it looks with regards to what masculinity and femininity mean and look like and present themselves as, regardless of what century we're in or what decade we're in. The energy within us that is divine masculine and divine feminine has been decimated. The reason why we're so disconnected is because we have destroyed and dismantled into something very unnatural what the divine feminine energy actually is. So the system,
we consider one to be nurturing and we consider the other to be protecting. But if you're leaning just to nurturing, who's protecting? If you're leaning just to protection, then who's nurturing that? Who's taking care of that?
Can I talk on that protective patriarchal system bullshit for a moment? Ooh, whoops, I said that.
Well, it kind of is.
So when I speak to people as to all right, I'm going to start and then walk backwards from a certain point. Let's go down this rabbit hole for all of us. What the fuck does protect and provide actually mean? What my natural divine feminine energy internally is craving and begging for from the divine masculine energy within whomever is for providing me a safe space to be fully and completely my fullest expression, my fullest divine feminine energy expression. Okay? Playful, wisdom, serious as a fucking heart attack, giggly like a 5-year-old. You're going to get everything from that and in between. You're going to not have any ounce of that feminine energy if you're not protecting me from what you learned and how you were conditioned in the patriarchy. Every man has been trained. Again, it's not a gender thing. Please, with the triggers, figure it out for yourself and how this applies. You've been taught, we're men, we're stronger, we're going to protect female physically. Honey, I've lived 52 years on this planet, never, ever once, and I've been in a shit ton of dangerous situations where I should be fucking dead. Okay, that's a real statement. Never once did a man ever come to protect me, ever. Ever. That's a real internal battle for me. So anytime I hear that argument, I scream massive amounts of bullshit. The only thing men need to protect me from is what they were conditioned to, programmed to believe. They need to deconstruct that for themselves in their own heart because they're so disconnected from their own humanity because they were shamed for having a divine feminine energy within them. It got destroyed within them to the point where now their pride and their self-centeredness and their entitledness is what they were taught was normal and natural and healthy. Their dominance, their control was taught normal and natural and healthy and good and providing. And you're not providing me financially does not begin to replenish, nurture, recuperate, build connection in any way, shape, or form. You were taught to create transactional, non-emotional connections. First, you have to be willing to deconstruct what you were taught. Okay? First, you got to be willing to see you got bad intel. You could be the nicest motherfucker on the planet. I'm cursing today. You could be the most wonderful, amazing. You try so hard to do so many things, say the right thing. You try so damn hard. But at the end of the day, you're still doing damage because you're not letting go of certain mindsets, beliefs, ideals, which come with behaviors. That is like taking machine gun hits every fucking day for a female. Okay, again, gender roles, figure it out for yourselves. I'm tired of saying the trigger warning.
Oh, well, one more time, and then you don't have to say it again, okay? There we go.
Thank you. Okay, I'm done with the trigger warnings. Figure it out for yourselves. Please understand our divine feminine energy has been disrupted. We females have been shamed for it. You males have been shamed for it in very different ways. We were both taught very different things of how they need to be expressed and what they need to look like within each of us. And it has destroyed our humanity for one another. It has simply destroyed our humanity within. Micah, what do you, I mean, like I could, I have felt so much shame because I didn't, right. But here's the thing.
I have people trying to shame me because I don't fit in a masculine.
But here's the thing. The word feminist has also been destroyed and decimated by the patriarchy and has been twisted and shamed into something like women are just trying to be more like men. Like we want to do all your sports and do all of your jobs and do. No!
I've had people say to me, why would I listen to somebody who has a bad mohawk and earrings?
That is not it.
And I'm like, yeah,
That's not it.
it's not it.
Feminism is actually attempting to engage in conversation to enlighten the imbalance of the divine feminine energy and the divine masculine energy, and how they have they're supposed to naturally work together and complement one another internally within each of us, men and women. It is an attempt to show all the ways in which we're not supposed to be submitting to a man's dominance, to aggression, to control. Women are walking around in fear 24/7 because we don't know which one of you is dangerous. And feminine was, because it offends the patriarchy. Feminists, and granted, one more trigger warning, there is extremists in everything: culture, religion, feminism, patriarchy. There's extremists in everything. Okay, find out where you are. But how do you know where you are if you're not open to learning something different? I implore you to please expand your knowledge, and please stop buying propaganda and brainwashing that you purchase on TV. You purchase the propaganda and the brainwashing that you're sold on TV. Please expand your knowledge into stuff that really aligns with who we naturally are as human beings in this existence, not what systems have created to maintain power, money, and control. We're the ones that create life. Female form creates life. We make a whole human body from our own blood, tissues, everything, okay? That somehow in history was terrifying. And someone somewhere in history decided their physical strength was supposed to be to snuff out and dominate, and because they don't have the capacity, make someone else, control someone else to do it for them, right? Because how is the system set up? The system is set up so that females are home making babies, being dominated and controlled so that they can serve. That is so off balance. Men are controlled by the patriarchy by learning that type of energy is not masculine. Their job is to fight, argue, fight. Men are afraid of other men. Men are afraid of sticking up for themselves. Oh, I'm sorry, Micah. I'm on a soapbox right now. Men are afraid of other men. So they perform for other men. Now now there's a suicide rate because who do they go to?
Which is higher amongst men.
Higher, much higher. So much higher among men. Why? Because there's no space for men. Women are taught not to hold space for men. Women are just inherently pissed off, and they don't understand why, because they're not seeing the system as pointing to the behaviors that their men are not hearing them are bothering the woman. So there's this back and forth that never ends because men don't see it, women don't see it. We're trained not to. So I hope in these 2 shows, I'm hoping that it illuminates for you what doesn't work. Micah, I know you're waiting patiently to speak. So I'm gonna give you the entire floor and mute myself.
You don't have to mute yourself.
But I am.
But whether you're a woman or you're a man, there is a battle that goes on inside of you because there is a division between what you feel and what you're taught. And when there is forced femininity, forced masculinity, and people are standing on their soapboxes about one or the other, no offense, Diane, it's because there is that division. And it appears to be completely external, but it starts inside because the battle between the feminine and the masculine, which it doesn't have to be a fight, by the way. Once she comes back, I'm going to take you through a quick exercise that was, while she was talking, just kind of poured in. But that fight inside Supposed femininity, programming. It's the dream of the planet. Supposed masculinity, imposed, dream of the planet. Other people's ideologies, even though you know deep inside you that it doesn't resonate with who you are and how you express yourself. So, in order to try and please others, you try and blend in based on their definitions of what the feminine is and of what the masculine is. So I invite you for a moment, you too, Diane, to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that your body is divided in half. There's a barrier, goes straight down. And on one side, there's a color that you associate with the feminine that just pours down the left. And then I want you to associate a color that goes with the masculine. I want you to pour that down on the right. And I want you to just let them fill and saturate as you take each breath. And once you feel completely filled up with these two colors, like an artist, I want you to pull that center barrier out. And I want you to notice in your mind's eye how these two colors just naturally, without effort, without force, begin to merge into each other and marry. Knowing that there's no barrier, knowing that there's no difference, knowing that one has the other, one mixes with the other. Without force, without derision, without decision. It just happens. There are no expectations. Just watch the colors swirl as if you were watching a lava lamp.
Thank you for that, Micah. Thank you. And the reality is it's up to us to deconstruct. It's up to us to decide that we're not going to subscribe to this broken system, that we're going to show up as we're meant to show up for ourselves and be aligned with what feels right in our hearts. The only way the system's ever going to change is if enough of us recognize that there's something wrong with it and then actually show up differently in our own lives. I mean, a lot of women have autoimmune diseases because of the trauma that they've endured. A lot of men have autoimmune diseases because of the trauma they endured. Why? Emotions. Emotions are not processed properly in the patriarchal system as it's set up. When our divine feminine energy is dismissed as too much or too little, depending on who we're talking to, and we're all as a society shoved into our masculine energy and disconnected from our emotions, we're a lot easier to control, a lot easier to keep sick and unhealthy, and a lot easier to manipulate so that we can keep producing as robots for this giant system.
Yep.
Okay? Don't you feel a little exploited and used on a whole grander scale than just one bad relationship? Don't they all your relationships look a little bit different now? Every last, including your parents and ancestors that you don't like.
And also because of societal conditioning on what the ideas of feminine and masculine are, everything that she just said, if you started to feel angry, that's why.
Mm-hmm. There is a systemic rage happening in females as their divine feminine is screaming back like, what the actual fuck? And as men are witnessing this collective what the fuck, they're starting to also reflect and say what the fuck. And now on a big picture scale, what seems like men not evolving is actually men having no idea that they're not evolved. What do you mean I'm not evolved? I do this, I do all the things that I'm told makes me a great dad and makes me a great husband and makes me a great whatever category, okay?
Sorry, that made me twitch.
Yeah, because, you know, me submitting and following the rules of society, supposed to submit, supposed to this, supposed to take all the onus of everything being on my shoulders is imbalanced. That's not where it's supposed to be. I'm the wisdom, and I'm saying I as like a feminine energy, okay, with a balanced masculine energy, because there's got to be the balance. But as a balanced feminine energy, it's a challenge to function in this society because they only accept and require that I act like a man. Implement, active, produce, implement, action, action, action. Whilst telling men that's all they're good for. Their value and worth, which I'm not going to talk about, is tied in. Shut my mouth because I'm remembering what our topic is.
It has
Not
branches, and
Wednesday.
that's okay because there's a lot of things that connect.
We're going to talk about more on that detail on Wednesday, I think, because that's our topic, isn't it? Our value.
More than a number. Yep.
Okay, there you go.
And no,
So-
you don't get a sneak peek. If you want a sneak peek, you got to follow me on Suno because it's published over there, and that's the only place you can hear it right now. Just saying.
So
But I'm going to interrupt you for
go
a
for
moment
it. Do
or two.
it.
Because, one thing that I've noticed, and I actually posted about this the other day, because the social media flooding. We talked about this last week on Phoenix Talks with Rummaging for Truth. The negative just floods, and the algorithm picks up on that. Our brain algorithm picks up on that because it floods. It feeds that energetic. It feeds where our emotions rest. And if you want to control a society, you feed the emotion that's going to get you the results.
Bingo.
And the results are to keep it angry, to keep it divided, and to keep it afraid. So I put up as I enjoy doing, one of those posts that just kind of trips people up. Instead of spending a moment thinking about who you're angry with and what kind of things that they're doing, I'm going to dance around so many different subjects right now without bringing a single one of them up. But something that's going on in the world right now that upsets you, boom, there it is. Okay, that's all you need to hear. Flip it for just a second, because that's the divine masculine going, what the fuck, and getting all angry and wanting to control and be, oh, this is what we have to do. That's stepping into the unaligned divine masculine. Let's bring it into the feminine. If there was someone that you could think of that you wanted to walk up to and say thank you for what you've done, for how you've impacted me, who comes to mind? Who brings that feeling of comfort, of safety? Not fear or anger, but comfort and safety. That's tapping back into your own divine feminine, as well as recognizing theirs and creating a bond that you can't and never will see.
And for a lot of us, that person is sometimes female. When it's male, it's usually a man who's got a healthier balance going on. We're not talking about perfection. Because in this freaking society that we live in, it kind of makes it physically impossible to have the genuine, complete natural flow, because the way the system is set up and we're living out of sync with our natural way anyway.
Right.
However, we can relate that, what he just said, within ourselves and ask ourselves, How are we showing up for people? Are we a safe space? What does a safe space require? A safe space requires me to be open and receptive, to listen, to just be present, to acknowledge and hold space for, not to fix, not to direct, not to establish criteria for, not to judge, not to shame, none of that stuff. It's presence, the presence that is aligned with the divine feminine energy. So turn that inward within yourself if you wanted to figure out how to spark that inside yourself. Am I showing up as a safe person, and what does that look like? Because masculine energy is not aggressive. Masculine energy, divine masculine energy, is not controlling, authoritative, not making all the decisions, not, they're not the only ones bringing in the money or whatever. Like whatever history.
It's not nuclear.
No, at
In
all.
any way, shape, or form.
No, it's not. And please take this as you will. Expanding what you're learning here on a greater scale for yourself to help you deconstruct. Because if you think about historically, the books are written by the people in charge. History is interpreted through a very masculine lens, not divine masculine, male energy.
Including religion, by the way.
Yes. Even in archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The bones, we have different biological structures. Our bone structure is different. So you have men deciding that the bones with the weapons and the things that they find inside the grave, oh, that's got to be just a small man. No, honey, that's a woman in there. And there's that, it changes from culture to society to space to space. It's different.
I mean, if we find in an archaeological dig a battle zone and you find the smaller bones, I want to ask all the mothers right now, if somebody was coming for your babies, would you not grab a gun or a knife? And no, I'm not going to say pew pew just to make people happy. I'm going to say gun. Are you just going to sit back and watch and let somebody hurt your baby?
No.
Oh, here comes a black woman, because no, I know none of you would.
Mm-mm. Absolutely.
And good grief, the level of creativity that women might have going after somebody, trying to come after their babies. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, men, just sit back and watch, have a cup of tea.
And on that note, let's talk about women's health and how little information there is out there and how they really kind of just started doing research on the female body and anatomy and et cetera, and chemical systems in the last, very, very, very recent history. I mean, there's different studies done at different times, but quite frankly, they haven't really gotten dirty and deep into it until the last decade or so. Come on, people. Every single medical structure, prescription, quantity, everything is immediately related to and only applying to the male body. The male's,
even if they try and sell it to you with Pretty Women.
Right. The male's decision. Okay. How many cultures are we aware of that we call savage cultures, that women are topless? That's temperature and culture. It is the patriarchal system and religion and culture and whoever wants to dictate what females should do that sexualized and objectified our bodies mutually, because men's bodies are also objectified. They have been depleted the opportunity for genuine intimacy. Instead, they've been reduced to an intimacy as being physical connection. That's not fair. You missed out on the whole purpose of intimacy, which is that emotional connection, consideration and respect and trust being built over time, that emotional connection where you can both hold space vulnerably for one another and you can trust each other fully and completely. That's been taken away from men. How has that affected you in every aspect of life? Well, you have a challenge to actually calculate empathy. It's why you can't hold space for someone who's crying and you just want to immediately jump to fix. Or maybe you're just going to be an active listener, but your definition of active listening is you heard what they said and you can repeat it back to them. You're not able to conceptualize it internally because you've been disconnected from those emotions. You don't know how to. You don't have the tools. You've been robbed of your fullest expression and experiencing the level of joy and grace that females tend to do quietly on their own in their own spaces, which is why females have been separated from each other in the patriarchy and disconnected from their own divine feminine energy. It's a lot. This is a lot to unpack. Recognize how every aspect of your experience has been dismantled by this dysfunctional system that we consciously maintain because we're kind of stuck in it on some level.
And I'm going to challenge all the textbooks right now, because you can read a book, you can go to a class. How do I tap back into the divine feminine? How do I align the divine masculine? You can go to a class, you can talk to a teacher, religious leader, somebody that you trust. But here's a truth that most people forget. What do I need? What do I need?
If you need help doing the inner work, there is a ton of books out there.
There is.
Work with
That will
my
help. It
Reverend
will help.
Yeah.
For sure.
There really are a ton of books out there on so many different levels. If you need help deconstructing patriarchy, there's a ton of books out there for that.
Yeah.
Okay. You can don't even take our recommendation. Go ask groups of people, list your book recommendations to deconstruct the patriarchy and how it's damaged me.
But I will tell you to watch out for this phrase. You need me.
Yeah. You need you is what you need.
That's what you need. You need to trust you, and you need to align with who is going to help you.
Yes. So
and if they tell you that I'm the person for you, notice what I don't say a lot, if ever. Because I know if you align with me as a coach, as a guide, as a teacher, as a mentor, you will come to me and ask. I do not have to sit there and say, you need me. Because you could be like, bitch, no, I don't. Whether you say it out loud or not.
Yeah.
But align with, trust your instincts. And even if they wind up being wrong, there was a reason that you needed to trust that instinct, because that was information that you needed to get in order to find out what you really needed to know.
Can I just steal what you just said and apply that to our conversation that we just had? Because there are a multitude of experiences that females have where they will share something intuitive and wisdom related that is immediately dismissed by a man, and he doesn't even know he's dismissing it. Because in his training and conditioning, the voice of a woman is meaningless. Only they have authority and knowledge. They don't. That could not be further from the opposite of the fucking truth, okay? We are the wisdoms. Their inherent natural way of being is to implement that wisdom. Men are okay, society, patriarchy, trigger warning. Not speaking about everybody. You know who you are. If you have to argue back or talk back and dismiss immediately without even stopping to take into consideration something a female said, you're part of the problem. I'm sorry.
Incidentally, this goes for women too.
Absolutely, it goes for women too. Absolutely. Because the system has trained us to be a man. The system itself is set up to say being a woman is all about your looks, how sexy you are, what you bring to the table in servitude. Okay? It is not your wisdom, your intuition, your innate sensitivities to know what's happening. Like, you are the special ops in the relationship. And what's happening is the authority got flipped. Men, generally speaking, are terrified that women, if we change to a matriarchy, women are going to treat men the same way that men have treated everyone. Everyone. Matriarchy is not a hierarchy at all. Learn what it actually means, learn what feminism actually means, learn what patriarchy actually is, and learn what misogyny actually looks like.
Oh, if you wanted a really good example of what patriarchy looks like, just scroll on your Facebook feed. Especially if you veer to the left. I'm just saying.
On that note, if
but
you need
one more thing,
okay.
One more thing, because that reaction, whether you're a man or a woman, when somebody gives you guidance that brings up that challenge that you have to defend and you have to respond that, no, that's not it. Michael just typed up something as to why. Because you don't know what you didn't know, but then someone tells you what you didn't know, or you find out what you didn't know, then you know what you didn't know. And since you know what you know now, what you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah.
And as hard as that was to read and say, imagine how hard it is for that internal, already knowing that something is off, to be challenged, that you didn't know that it was off and you didn't know how to fix it, which wasn't broken, by the way. You didn't know how to realign it.
We're
so
not
that
broken,
you could
the system
be
is.
you.
Right. We're not broken, the system is. If you need help with your healing journey, talk to either one of us. Micah's book is already out. Mine's not even written yet, but it's in here. That doesn't help you right now. So right now, I can't advertise both books. One exists. Please get your book. It's been out for over a year, and it's been so impactful for so many. Please go get your Untriggered.
And if you want a easy way, let's see if I still have it. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. You're scanning.
Here's an easy way to find it, because that'll take you right to the Zon and show you the three different ways you can get it. You can read it on your Kindle, you can get a softback, you can get a hardcover. And now that, since we're talking about this, I'm going to do the shameless plug. Time is almost out, because as of next Monday, I believe, is September 1st, my special offer for mentorship is going away and will not be back until I decide for it. And it's $100 off my monthly charge, plus entrance into the Risers in Flight Zoom calls, discounts on readings, discounts on other promos I might, simply by agreeing to a mentorship. But reach out to me in private. The website is down for now, so that's why I'm not advertising that.
Speaking of websites, mine is going to be under construction for a minute. And I'm also changing the entire way that I show up, because there is so many facets to the work with me. And each individual has their own unique needs that my pay structure is shifting to. I'm going to require a discovery call, a consultation in essence, to see, so that I can, first, so we can see if we can work together, and number two, to see what aspects of my gifts and abilities and knowledge you're going to need, and what that's going to take from me to give to you. And the price structure is going to be based off of that, because some of you don't need things that are going to take more energy out of me, and some of you do. And so my price structure is going to reflect your needs. So that's my little shameless plug. Healingrose.org.
And she's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're amazing too.
Thank you.
I mean, that's why we work so good as a team, because we
we just mesh the amazing.
Yes, I love you all so much. Thank you, Micah, for sharing your thoughts, your wisdom, and for
Oh, you're
letting
welcome.
me put you on the spot like that so I can run to the bathroom earlier because I
Oh no,
couldn't.
hey, that's what's great about a live show sometimes.
Yes.
And be sure to tune in Wednesday at 6 p.m. when we come back together for Phoenix Talks. We're going to
Yeah,
talk about more than a number, and I love that my AI honed in on the feminine this time instead of
I
putting a
love
man
that.
in the picture. So,
And the original feminine in human form. Thank you very
right,
much.
right. So we're going to remind you that you're more than a number, and we're going to talk in depth about that. Come back tonight, same bat channel, different bat time for Brindle's Vision. Whew. After this conversation, I can't wait to see what the collective reading's going to be.
Can't wait. Oh, I love you all so much. Thank you for being a part of this show and part of my
You're
life
welcome. Thanks for
and
asking me,
all of this. Thank you.
and we'll see you.
From the soil of your sorrow, petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You walk through the dark with a soft, steady truth, holding your heart till your heart carries you. This is the This is the blue.
Hey, this is Brindle Wolf. You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action, with programs to spark your growth, lift your spirits, and help you rise into your potential. Rise Awakenings, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken and climb. Rise Awakenings, now is the time. Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.